Good afternoon, all. Where do we upload the files? I think we have uploaded all the files in the PPTs in the files, right? In this, are you able to access them? Can anybody please confirm? So, what are the files we have uploaded? So, have are you people able to access them? Is it visible now? But I'm trying to see that they are not seen only. Actually, there should be a set in that this thing. There should be a where it should say that files, right? Upload the files or something like that. Okay. I think I've just shared through things which right here I have files. Now I'm uploading one more file, the assignment activity we're supposed to complete. Okay. So in your teams, I have uploaded an assignment. It's a simple activity which you have to create. Okay. So you have to write a code for them. So it's clearly mentioned in the assignment what you're supposed to do. Okay, so you do that and write that code and upload. If you could able to execute them and share those things with the screenshots, you could upload in the Taxila portal. So the deadline is on 10th, but if it is required, I can extend that till the next Saturday if it is required. Okay, so we will grade it accordingly. So is it okay to submit on 10th?
Can you please try to extend the date?
Okay, I will request them to extend till the next Saturday. Okay, so till the next session. Okay, so please ensure that all of you complete the assignment and submit it on the portal. Okay, so I will just talk to them to extend it. Okay, request them. It's a simple code and a simple logic, which you already discussed in the last session. Okay, so same topic it is, same thing what we have explained, so that you have to do it. Little small changes which you have to do. Okay, so try to do that and perform that, and it will be easily you can.
Sir, by downloading the Android Studio Code, the laptop becomes it's not supporting so heavy applications.
Okay, because of Wipro constraints.
No, sir, I'm not trying in a Wipro. I'm trying in my personal laptop also, but it is become.
What is happening?
Sir, screen become stuck. Stuck.
No, what is your RAM capacity?
8 GB.
8 GB. Okay.
7.59 usable.
Okay, but still, it should able to install because minimum 8 GB is required. 100%, so minimum 8 GB is required to run it. And your processor is i3 or i5.
i5.
Then it should work no without any problem. Because
But
see,
yeah,
my system is
I
i3.
sir, you are using Windows laptop, right?
Yeah. Yours
Okay,
is?
I'll look into this, sir.
Try it. It will work. It will work. It's not a problem. Okay, definitely it will work. Okay, so because minimum 8 GB is more than sufficient to run it, install and run it. Please be ensure that to sometimes you'll have a virtualization. The default it will be disconnected. You will not be able to run that virtualization. Windows hypervisor will be disabled. So you have to enable them to run that application. You
Okay,
have to
sir.
go to BIOS. You have to go to BIOS, and then there it will be there. The Windows virtualization hypervisor. You have to enable them to run it. Otherwise, it won't run.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right. All right. So today let's move on. So today we're going to talk about background services and using internet resources, and then what is meant by services and background threads. So in the previous session, so we have discussed about Android is a event driven. So there will be no single main activity. So it is nothing called as main, like unless in any of the program, like you write a normal application, you'll have say example C program, you have a int main, or you have a C++, there'll be a main, or you have a Java, there'll be a main. Like unless all these things, it doesn't have any main program for the main method. So it is only an activity which is going to be helping us. So this is based on the event, and this entire application will be launched through an event. So intent here is nothing but an object which is going to be acting as a bridge between the activities, navigate between the screens, share your data, trigger system and the application events. Right. So explicit intent, so target component is known, right? So where it'll be between the activities in the same application. Implicit intent, it is between the two activities or two applications itself, or from one application you're opening another application. That means, say example, you'll have an application, you're going to click a button, so that will launch another application, say example browser. Okay, kind of that. So intent structure is nothing but it will have action, data, category type, and extras, flags, and components. All these things we discuss. Intent filters defined on Android manifest .xml declare what a component can handle it. So resolution, so which is going to match the implicit intents with the intent filters when you are running at the running the application. There will be a broadcast receiver, so there is nothing but the some of the intents which has been made such a way that it will be just published, so that it is published. Maybe that is known to every component of your system, but who has to respond to that? It will vary. Okay, so that is nothing but broadcast receivers. So registration type, so it could be static, that will be done in the manifest file, but whereas a runtime, it will be done on the with the help of a register receivers, or once you register, and then you can also have a unregistered receiver. Okay, so let's just say example, battery is low, Wi-Fi turned off, right? So when battery is low, I say there are so many applications which is dependent on the battery, your screen resolution, to safeguard or to continue running, I need to switch off your Wi-Fi. So automatically all these things will be done when that intent is broadcasted, say that your battery is low, right? So the broadcast types could be normal, or it could be in the ordered, or it could be sticky notes or non-sticky. So key idea is loose coupling, so it could be more flexible and it could be modular responsive Android application. So you have to go through this record lectures, so which typical architecture of internet resources, architecture of interconnected devices, and a typical architecture of internet resources uses the devices. Now, so how these applications which you try to build and run on the system will communicate, right? So which has data to be fetched or data to be stored. So we may not be able to locate every data in your same system. Okay. So or you have to say example, WhatsApp is an application. So WhatsApp is an application which has to fetch the data from a different sources, right? So how does it going to communicate, right? So it is a thing. So it is to perform that. Ultimately, it requires some connectivity. So that connectivity is internet here. Now, to access the internet, can I directly write an application? It can access them. No, it has to give a permission. So always an application to access the internet requires the permission. And whenever you are trying to get connected to network, right, your cellular network, then also you should require permission. Okay, network operations must run in the background threads, and UI thread must remain responsive. So the way of giving a permission, so declare required permissions in the manifest.xml file. So users, please read this tag, remember this tag. Users permission Android :name is equal to Android.permission.internet. So allows checking network connectivity status, right? So Android, so get whether you're able to get connected to the network or not. So get the status of that. So Android.permission.access network state. So to the code I wanted to check. So check the connectivity. Okay. So in the Kotlin, we'll write a function. So is connected with the context. Okay. So context is true or false. So it's a Boolean activity. So connectivity manager is equal to context.get the system service with the connectivity manager from the class.java. If the current activity network, which is if it is an active network, so network is equal to your connectivity manager dot active network will be returning true or false. So it will say return false if it is not connected. If it is connected, return true. Okay, so get the capabilities of the network, get network capabilities of the given network. So if otherwise, return false. So network has internet capability. So return capabilities dot has the capability of network capabilities dot net capability internet. So please remember this net underscore capability underscore internet is an uppercase tag which you have to use it. So internet available does not guarantee server availability, but however is handle network failures in a better. So third step is that, so simple network request you have to do, suspend the activity HTTP get, URL str is of the string, string is equal to with the context of dispatches.id. So URL is equal to URL with a given string, whatever I have given, maybe say google.com or something. So connection is equal to URL dot connection setup, open the connection as HTTPS URL connection. First thing is you're configured the network, you're checking the status, you're checking the availability, right? Now you're giving the request to open the web page. Okay, so that HTTPS URL connection dot request method is equal to get connection dot connect the connect timeout is equal to 10,000 10,000 so that connection dot read timeout will be 15. So read response data as text connection dot input stream dot buffer reader dot use it dot read text. So I'm going to read the text from there and this. So the networking approaches in Android. So the Android provides a different ways or multiple ways to perform the network operations. So HTTPS URL connection, so which is will be used to understand how this the request will work. Shows the request method, so timeouts and response handling, suitable for small demos as well as the learning also. Okay, so retrofit plus OK HTTP, so which is used in real world application in an Android system, which is going to ensure that the networking, threading, as well as JSON parsing will also be taken care, and it will be used for the application development, actual application development. So lab guidelines are use HTTPS so URL connection for concept learning, and this is for while building your full application, you can use it. So retrofit for networking. So this course and lab work, retrofit is used for network communication. Why it is? Because it's a easiest way to get connected through HTTP request. So it's going to simplify the entire process here. Automatically passes the JSON responses, executes network calls safely in the background threads, widely used in real world Android applications. So uses retrofit for all API based networking tasks. The fourth step is retrofit required dependencies, right? So which is also to be verified. Add the following dependencies in the module level. So build.gradle file. So retrofit library for HTTP communication. So you're going to use this implementation of com.squareup.retrofit to retrofit 2.11.0. Okay, so please do. So Moshi converter for JSON parsing can be used. So with the implementation com.squareup.retrofit to converter hyphen Moshi colon 2.11.0 as the for data model. So we will be JSON mapping. So represents a JSON object returned by the APA. So data class post. So value the variable ID, which is an integer. Title is a string. So property name must match with the JSON keys as you need to fetch it from that. So define API endpoints. Interface the API services. Fetch a post using its ID. Get from the post ID. Suspend fun get post path ID, which is an integer. Response is also post. So here it will be give the response through the HTTP code. Okay, so whatever the result which is based on the website found or things like based on that it's going to respond. Method is defined using annotation. So suspend ensures background execution. No UI thread block. Step 7, creating a retrofit instance. So creating a single retrofit instance for the application. What we do is that value retrofit is equal to retrofit.builder, which will be done with a base URL of JSON placeholder dot uh, type icode.com. So then add the converter factory with a Moshi converter factory dot create. So that then you're going to give call a method called as build. So this API will use service implementation. So API service is equal to retrofit dot create API service with the class. Making an API call. So execute the API call inside the core routine. So perform a network request. So value response is equal to API service dot get post. Extract the past response. Value post is equal to response dot body. And always try to expect failure or the null responses. So we have to handle them very carefully. Handle results safely in the UI. So availability at the runtime. So net observer, which is a class, will be with a particular context. And I'm going to have a variable by private variable connectivity manager is equal to context.get system service of the connectivity manager from the class.java. And for the network changes, right? So we're going to have a callback is equal to object with the connectivity manager dot network callback. Override function on available. So with the network, so we just iterate available, right? So otherwise, override fun on lost, so it will be lost. So that what you want to do the intentionally, you can specify over there. Start observing the network changes so that as I mentioned, fun function start connectivity manager dot register default network callback with the callback as a parameter on stop. So unregister the network callback. Guidelines to further is use retrofit for all networking. Call APIs inside the coroutines. Handle API failure and null responses. Do not block the UI thread. Use work manager for long running background tasks. So we fetch the data from APS. So now imagine downloading a PDF or image or zip file. So this can take time. So the app may go to background and we still want the download to continue. Okay. So we will just see how do we use this download manager inside this application as a background activity. So download files from a URL. Right? So whatever the type of file it could be a text or it could be a PDF or it could be image or zip file. So when you do that, automatically the activity will go into the background. So we call it as a service. So UI remains responsive at the foreground. Will manage that Android will manage the download the as well as giving a notification on the successful completion. And also we'll have an option for download. We track the download using a download ID. So first thing is that we have to give a permission, users hyphen permission, Android name, android.permission.internet. So create a request. Request is equal to download manager.request uri.pass with a file URL. Then we save the file. So upload the application downloads the folder, right? I'm just trying to open the studio, Android Studio. Okay, so let's just proceed with it by the time it loads. Okay, so request is equal to download. We have to give a request download manager dot request with the URI specified link. Okay, save the file. So app downloads the folder. Request dot set the destination in the external files directory with the context this context environment dot directory downloads and then course dot pdf. Okay, so then third is that we have to value dm is equal to get system service context dot download service as a download manager, value download id is equal to dm dot enqueue with the request, download id is needed to check the status or open the file or cancel. Optional settings, so if it is required, not necessary. Show completion notification. So request.set notification visibility. Download manager.request.visibility underscore visible underscore notify when it is completed. Allow Wi-Fi plus mobile data to download. So request.set allowed network types. Download manager.request.network Wi-Fi or download manager.request with the network mobile. So then the file types, it can also be so application slash PDF. So it can be is not necessary. Private value receiver object the broadcast receiver override the function on receive context with I intent value ID is equal to I dot get long extra download manager dot extra download ID minus 1L. So if ID is equal to download ID, file will be opened and download completed. Okay. So the third step is that the status to be verified. So check whether the download is completed or it is failed or still running. So returns the current status of the download. So function get the download status with the ID set to be a long integer. The get download manager system service will be done with the variable value dm is equal to get system service with the context of download service as a download manager. A query for this specific download ID will be done. So which is value query is equal to download manager dot the query dot set filter by ID. Okay, set filter by ID. Execute the query. Cursor is equal to dm dot query of the. So cursor dot use. So if no record found, so treat as failed. So if not it dot move to first, return download manager dot status failed. Read the status to column. So value status column is equal to it dot get column index of download manager dot column status. Return it dot get the status of the column. Okay. So when downloaded the file, so completed. So open the file, right? So open the downloaded file using an external app. So it could be PDF viewer or image viewer or anything. So function open the downloaded file. So with set to be ID as long. So get the download manager. So DM is equal to get the system service context dot download service as a download manager. Uh, File URI is equal to DM dot get URI download manager file downloaded file with the specified ID. If file not found, so if it is, then it will be equal to null. That ID will be or URI equal to null. So we'll say the toast dot make text with this context file not found. So the length will be short or long. So dot show. So then return. Create an intent to open the file. So intent is equal to intent of intent action view dot apply. So set the data and type file URI with application or a PDF that is already we have set in the previous thing, which what type of file should be opened. And the add flags, so intent.flag grant read URI underscore permission. Launch external app to open the file. So start activity intent. So cancel the download so that you can say at any point of time you just wanted to cancel it so that you can do that. Value DM is equal to get system service context dot download service as download manager, then DM dot remove with a specific ID. Okay, so we can just do start download, store download ID, register receiver. When download completes, check the status, open the file, so cancel the download. So this is the flow. So key tips to be used when you're going for this use case. So download files from URL, documents, images, or the archives or anything. So download continues even if the application is minimized. Destination, save application specific storage to avoid extra permissions. Set destination in external files directory. File types, set the correct MIME type to so that the Android can recognize and it can open the files. Network use preferably Wi-Fi or even mobile data if that has to be set accordingly. Open safely if the use the file URI from the download manager and grant read access with the permission. Okay. I'll just I'm trying to open that application. So just give me minutes. I'll open it. It's taking a lot of time to load. I don't know why. Okay, so meanwhile, so we'll do one thing. Okay, so what we do is that let us have a small video for all of you so that it will be easy for you to understand better way. Introduce.
Phone call app.
ಸರಿ. ಹಾ, ಹೇಳಿ ಮಿಸ್. 4,327. ಹಾ, ಒಂದು 50 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ. ಹಾ, ಹಾ, ಸರಿ. ಹಾ, ಮನೇಲಿ. So my system got unresponsive because of this Android Studio. Sometimes to do it to understand this.
Hub of file from the internet. Download Manager is a system service, so that comes from the Android operating system directly, and is also managed by the Android operating system, which makes things very easy for us. So it already comes with a notification with progress. It comes like with a reminder when the download is finished. It already handles all the saving in our downloads directory for us. So it's a very convenient solution for us to download files from the internet. And here, if I quickly relaunch my app here, then you will see how this works. Well, the progress didn't show because the download was so fast, but we in the end just downloaded an image here from my website, but you can use any type of file where you have a valid download link. And if we go to our downloads directory, here is our downloaded file, which you can then access afterwards. Now I'll show you how we can do this and how we can also integrate this into an existing architecture in a very nice and scalable way. First of all, I want to go to our root directory, and here we want to create a new file called downloader. And that will be an interface which we can then use in our view models, in our domain layer, wherever we want to easily access our download service without actually binding our view model to a specific Android service, which would not make it locally unit testable. So in here we will have a function, download file. We pass the URL where we want to download it from, and it will return a long, which is the ID of that downloaded file, which you can then use to access or to kind of query specific downloaded files from Download Manager. For example, if we want to know if the download finished or so, then we can implement the actual implementation of this downloader interface, which I will call Android Downloader. Select class, make that implement our downloader interface, and give it access to our context in the constructor. Then we will have our download file function. And here we will simply create a private val called download manager. And this is simply a system service. So we can say context.getSystemService. And we need to pass our download manager class at Java. So this just refers to the Android service, and we can then use it to schedule a certain download, which you can then use here. First of all, we want to define our download request, which just combines all the options and configuration we want to have for that specific download. So val request is download manager dot request. In here we need to pass our URI, which is simply url.toURI. So we just convert our string to a URI. And now we can configure that request. On the one hand, we want to set the MIME type of our download. And of course, depending on what kind of downloader you have here, if you have flexible MIME types, then you need some kind of MIME type parser that takes your URL and just extracts the MIME type out of that. In our case, we are just downloading an image. So I will hardcode this here, image/JPEG. But again, if you have a URL and the end of the URL has maybe file.zip, then you know the file type is zip, and you can parse the MIME type based on that. And then what we can do is we can set the allowed network types. So depending on your download, you might only want to enable this for Wi-Fi. So only if the user is actually connected to a Wi-Fi network and not to the mobile network, to not cause any further charges. So we could do this with download manager request.network Wi-Fi or network mobile. So we could also combine these, which would not make any sense, which I think is the default. But let's set this to Wi-Fi just for demonstration here. We can then set the notification visibility. So what kind of notification we actually want. Let's get that or those flags from download manager request that visibility. Let's use visibility visible notify completed. So this will stay visible for the whole duration of the download, and then also come with a notification when the download is finished. If you choose visible, then that means it will show the progress of the download, but not when it's finished. Visibility hidden is, well, no notification at all. And visibility visible notify only completion means, that the user will only get a notification when the download succeeded, but not for the progress. So let's choose this one to get the maximum amount of information. We can then set a title for our file, which I'll just call image.jpg.
Google receives approximately 2 million job applications annually. It is harder to get into Google than it is to get into Stanford, but people.
We can theoretically add a request header that is relevant if you download from an API, from a backend, where you need some kind of token or so to authenticate. Then you could attach that here. So for example, for the authorization header, and then pass your token using bearer, whatever, your token. We don't have that here for my website, but in case you do have that, then you need to do that to simply attach headers to your HTTP request this download service will make. And very importantly, you want to set the destination in external public directory to also find our downloaded file in our public downloads directory afterwards. The directory type is environment dot directory downloads, and the subpath is simply our image JPEG again. It's simply image.jpg and here as well. And yeah, there are a bunch of more options we could choose from here. But yeah, for example, set requires device idle, set requires charging to only download if your device is actually charging. So yeah, you can play around with that. Let's leave our request as it is, and then simply return download manager .enqueue to enqueue that request, and the return value of this will be the ID download manager will assign to our download, which you can then use to query further information about it. If we now want to know when that download actually finished inside of our app, then what we need to do is we need to specify a broadcast receiver. So the Android system will send a broadcast event to our app when the download is finished. So we can't simply work with a callback here, because it could be that our app is not active anymore when the download finished. So the callback would not be triggered in that case. Instead, we want to register a broadcast receiver. So in here, we create a new class, download completed receiver, and that is a broadcast receiver. In here, we will have an onReceive function where we want to, first of all, replace this with context, this with intent. I want to check if that intent.action is equal to android.intent.action.download complete. So we just check if it's really that event we're looking for. Then we get the ID out of that intent. So intent get long extra, and we don't need the null check here. Get long extra. The extra is simply download manager extra download ID, and the default value is -1L. And if this ID is not equal to -1L, so if it is a valid ID, then in our case we can simply print it. So print line, print line download with ID finished. I'm actually not sure right now if this will also be called for failed downloads. So if it will pass an ID if the download failed, but you can find that out by a simple query. So you could also get a reference to download manager here. Download manager is a download manager, and you then set that equal to context get system service download manager like this. And yes, that needs to be nullable. Let's assert this is not null here just for demo. And then this download manager also has a function to query. So here you can pass a download manager query. So that would probably be like, well, query is download manager.query. And then you can set the filter by ID. So you can filter for a certain ID or for a certain status, and they can find out what the status of that download is to actually check if it is if it is pending, if it is successful, failed, or whatever. So just to mention that you can also query certain downloads given their ID. We then want to go to our manifest to register this broadcast receiver. Below our activity, I want to have a receiver tag. For download completed receiver, the exported flag is true, so that other apps can send broadcasts to our app when the download is actually completed. And then we specify an intent filter to actually receive broadcasts for our given action, where we say the action is, do we have download completed? No, we don't have that here, but it still exists. So we can go to a receiver, copy this, pass it for the action, and then close this. If we then go to our activity and actually create this, well, downloader is Android downloader, passing this as the context, and then we can say downloader.download file, where we simply pass a URL. Let me quickly get that here. You can use any type of URL, just make sure to adjust the MIME type in your downloader in that case to whatever extension that is. Or if you want to use my URL, then simply write this off or get it from GitHub down below. And if we now launch this, we will see that nothing works because I just realized we forgot the internet permission. Of course, in our manifest, we want to say users permission, internet, and then we can try this again. That's of course needed here. If we then take a look here, then we see a notification, download complete. The other one was still from my other app, so we can remove this. And if we then go to our downloads directory, in here we can see there is our second file, which our app just downloaded. So I hope you enjoyed this video and now know how you can download any type of file in Android, which the user should actually be aware of. If so, then you will definitely also love my more advanced Android premium courses.
So that was it for you to go through it. Okay. Now I think the activity, the one is given and assignment one is given with two activities to create. So hope that can be done and submitted. So request for them to extend the date till next Friday or next Saturday. Okay. So meanwhile, I'll just schedule your quiz. Just a minute.
The date will be surely increased, right? Extend, sorry.
Yeah, it will be done. I'll request them to extend till Friday.
Thank
Let me finish this.
Then let us fit to this. Let's see. Papa 2 o'clock no muttila. Ninja 2:23 ಆಯ್ತು.
2:30. Not loading only.
2:30 ಇದೆ. Papa 2:30 ಇವಾಗ.
Okay, no issues. We'll have assignments. Create new.
ಆಯ್ತು. 23 ಮುಗೀತದ.
Folder open. No.
ಮಮ್ಮಿ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಲ್ಲ. 25, 23.
Excuse me. I think there's some issue with loading the Teams. Like it is just not able to load it properly. Maybe the internet issue or from the Teams. I don't know. Microsoft. This is very much slow in accessing any of the folders, right? So I think a quiz this week will also be not there. So we'll do it in the next session. Okay. So with this, we'll end the session here. We'll catch up in the next session. Till then, take care. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.